But if that's the actuality, if that's what's going on, if who I am is true, if where I come from is true, which I have made predictions 8 years ago up until now, and my predictions keep coming through. Hybrid existence being the primary, which it's not so much the hybrid existence now, it's more of the ultimate realms that I'm thinking of. It makes sense for as beings on Earth to not just we're already hybrids. I mean, physically, we're literally hybrids, which is one of the reasons why we're not spontaneously combusting as bad as we should, though it happens every now and then. I mentioned this in recording a few times. If you had 400 years to write the most beautiful story possible, all sources available, all beings available to express and share with you, what would you make? And then some. That applies to every single being. That applies into the quantifications and evolutions of all. That is what eternity means. There is no, quote, achievement level in a sense. There is no grand peak in a sense. I think the greatest story ever is these beings on this planet really realizing who they are, because to see the polarity of beings on this planet, I've come to realize it's not a hybrid, it's ultimate. So the actual irony here and extrapolation here, I'm sure you've heard this before, human being, the H and U being higher universal man, not true. It's far more than that. And there is no man included, it's being. I think it's a little deliberate on the sexist part, but whatever. I think what persons are going to be realizing is hybrid ultimate beings. What I am saying is based on not just eternal evolution, but it's based on absolute perfect fulfillment measures based on all limitations that persons have been facing on absolute unnecessary values and numerous amounts, unfortunately. It's obscure, but there are persons who are living in such limited limitations to find something of, well, let's put this little story out there. Children crawling in wastelands, fields of trash. To find a can with a few strands of spaghetti noodles in it is of value, though it's obviously not of any value. But in those circumstances, in a very obscure way, that is actually of value. What does it sound like to you? Does that sound, I mean, obviously it sounds bad, but as far as the flip side, and seeing those limitations entirely gone, seeing that child living a far more beautiful life, does that sound hybrid to you? Does that sound Phoenix-like to you? The actual answer to these questions is no. Ultimate. Think about that. Ultimate is ultimate. Ultimate is... Evolution and ultimate are just about one and the same. If anything else is neoism. Or neoistic. I mean, think about it. Look at these standards around. Look how much time is put into advertising candy, shoes, even to socks. I mean, everything. You have a dollar store. You have all these frivolous things that are made. Every single little bit of effort to try and limit beings that are already hybrids. And Origins Express though this universe has been tampered with, unfortunately, by chaos, he's not going to do too well in his realization on all this. But despite being physical beings, you survived through something that you're going to wonder how the heck you survived. You really are. You're really going to wonder. But what's going to be amazing is you're going to realize the formula is ultimate. Ultimate is McDonald's. I mean, let's do some factors here. Let's stack some comparisons. Through the art of comparison, hilarityism shows itself very well. I'll start out with this one. McDonald's, Quasar. Captain D's, Pleiades. It's sad, isn't it? Okay. Walmart, Venus. I mean, really, this is how embarrassing the standards are of living. They're not even standards of living. This is more like a taxi cab ride. We're just waiting until we get to our destination and stop having to pay this guy that's taking us wherever we're going. Okay, the government. But we're defining our destination. One more example, because I'm really wanting to prove this point. J.C. Penney, Nebula. Do you see why there is some little time left? Time left for you to witness what you will never witness again, and to realize not just what I have told you in my recordings that I've mentioned for a very long time, not just what I've shared at is true and is coming true. It wasn't the hybrid existence we were waiting for, it was the ultimate realms. To me, it makes absolute perfect sense, to be honest. But honestly, I like to explain that perfect sense that it makes to me. We're all unique. So even if I did explain it, you're going to have your own unique perception. You're going to have your own unique way of, what you think about what I've shared. If what I say is true, though, honestly, you're not going to have any complaints. I'm almost able to verbalize some stuff to expect, but my imagination is not able to keep up with much. I can only see enough color that's starting to make shapes and starting to make some things, but my imagination, as I have mentioned before, it is just incapable of structuralizing this entirety of articulation that I wish to express. It's just not possible. I just can't. I mean, I'm seeing, I don't even know, nebula waterfalls, but this is like just walking, and it's just flowing by you. But I mean, it might just be a stream of like 3 inches, across, and 2 or 4 inches high, as far as the actual circumference of this nebula stream that you're walking by. But in actuality, it's 600 trillion light years per inch of information. So, forgive me if I can't extrapolate these details. That's an example. I mean, a lot of persons are really not going to have much to say for a while. A lot of persons are just really not going to have much to say for a while. But those words will come to you. Once you realize and experience what's to be experienced, and everyone's going to know what's up. For the most part, why a lot of persons are not going to be able to speak for a while is because they're going to realize there was a being that was living as a human being, came from an existence